Check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. And just a reminder, please silence your cell phones. Thanks.
Good morning and welcome to the spring commencement exercises of Baylor University School of Law. We are glad you are here for this day of celebration and a day on which we create memories. To begin our ceremonies this morning, I call upon William Andrew Boone, a member of the graduating class who has been selected by the class to deliver the invocation. William.
Please pray with me. Gracious Heavenly Father, we ask your blessing on this ceremony. Direct our hearts and minds to you as we recognize the accomplishments of this class. Let every celebration of this class's achievements be a form of thanksgiving and praise to you for your great grace. We thank you for bringing us to Baylor Law School. Thank you for the professors, administrators, and staff who have blessed our class with their instruction and encouragement these past 3 years. Thank you for the opportunity to receive an excellent legal education. And we thank you for the support our class has received from those represented in the audience, parents, grandparents, spouses, loved ones, friends, children, and other members of our communities who have made these accomplishments possible. We thank you for the law you have written on our hearts, the law we have spent 3 years studying and preparing to practice, and the law to which you subjected yourself when you, the judge of all the earth, became one of us and endured an unjust trial so that we might have eternal life. We pray that our lives as lawyers would reflect a deep reverence for the law, and that when necessary, we would work to align our human laws with the demands of true justice. Lord, we pray for the future of every member of our graduating class. Bless the work of our hands and the work of our minds. Open doors in our careers. Impress upon us the great weight of responsibility that we have to uphold the sanctity of truth. Lead us not into the temptation to sacrifice justice on the altar of expediency. Enable us to be who you made us to be. Lord, bless us and keep us. Make your face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. Lift your countenance upon us and give us peace. In the name of your Son, our Lord, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Thank you, William. And class, please be seated. William, thank you. That is an honor to be selected by your classmates to deliver the invocation at this day of memory. And I appreciate your notation in your invocation of the law that's written upon our heart, because we are a faith mission school. This is a happy day, spring commencement ceremonies of Baylor University School of Law. We are glad that you're all assembled here. We know that you have come from literally far and wide. I have yesterday spoken to a number of the families, and I know that many came in from even the East and the West Coast to be here to celebrate this day of commencement, stepping out, commencement, a new beginning, as our graduates will go into their professional lives. Graduates, we are celebrating you today, but you didn't come here by yourself. Since you took your first breath, before even, you were nurtured by your parents, and you have continued over the years to be loved, cared for, and supported by your parents, by spouses, by aunts, uncles, grandparents, and even your children in many cases. And let's take a moment, given that, to have the class, each of you, rise, turn around, and let's give thanks to those who have made possible this day for you. Thank you, class. Please be seated. Friends, family, loved ones, thank you so much for being here. You are one of the very best parts of our celebration, and you'll find out later. I'll leave you with that teaser. The law school, Baylor Law School, we're mighty proud of it. I have so many of my colleagues here with me today. We live, breathe, and love Baylor Law School. It's a law school that has proven itself over and over and over again for its ability, for our ability to send out into the profession Baylor lawyers. And as the class is well aware, whenever I mention the word Baylor lawyers, I always remind them that if you're typing it or if you're writing it, it's always with a capital B, of course, because it is a proper noun. But then lawyer is with a capital L because, class, it is not just a descriptor, it is a brand. It is a brand. We are known for our rigor. We are known for our rigor. We believe in putting the flame under our graduates when they start in the first year as 1Ls, 1Qs. We put the flame underneath of them, and we heighten the flame in the second year, and we bring the flame to full blow by the third year. The third year at Baylor Law School with our practice court program, which is our gemstone program. We're good in a lot of areas, but we are so well known for the practice court program, the 6-month immersive program in advocacy. Our school is singular in that our 3L students are still on the precipice of wondering, will I make it or not? There's no coming in and floating over the tarmac in the third year. Instead, the bar is raised to its highest, and we expect each of our students to get over that bar. Why do we do that? We do that because as they go into the profession, they are going to be dealing with people who have problems that they cannot resolve themselves, and they need the benefit of a Baylor lawyer, the expertise, the training, the experience, the insight to get them from where they are to where they need to be. Their families may be coming apart. Maybe they want to start a business. They may have a claim against Medicare or against Medicaid, and they don't know how to wade through the governmental regulations. They know that they need to get to a point, but they can't get there themselves. We train, we educate, we make our graduates Baylor lawyers who can take those who have those challenges in life from here to here ethically, efficiently. They get the job done. So proud. We are a faith mission school. I always remind our students the very first day that they are at Baylor Law School in orientation. We talk about faith. We talk about the anchor of faith. We talk about the foundation of faith. And I remind our students that as we pass through this mortal veil, that we have an obligation. We have an obligation to our Creator. The obligation is one that I always describe as being a vertical and having a horizontal dimension. We are to glorify God, the vertical, and we are to serve the kingdom of God, the horizontal. And as lawyers, as Baylor lawyers, we feel so blessed to be able to have those special tools, those special insights, that special experience that we have from Baylor Law to be able to serve on the horizontal plane all of those who are our fellow travelers through this life. I want to point out a symbiosis. It's one between the legal profession and our armed forces. It's very seldom noted. We, as Baylor lawyers, we are part of a profession that is the profession that is the steward. We are stewards of the justice system. We are the guardians of the rule of law. In our nation, we often take that for granted, but we can look around the globe, you can look in the media any day and see the consequences of a justice system that is broken or non-existent, and the consequences of the rule of law being damaged or set aside. We are the stewards, we are the guardians. We in the legal profession would not be able to practice our service that I have noted were it not for the umbrella of security that is given by the armed forces across this nation and around the globe. And so I want to, at this juncture, ask everyone here assembled, if you are active, retired, or reserve military, any of the armed force branches, please rise and receive our appreciation. We live in a society, we live in a culture that has many false heroes. I enjoy watching football and other sports. I enjoy going to the movies, but here's the point we need to always keep in mind. Our athletes, our professional athletes, our actors, actresses, they are not heroes. They entertain us. They are not heroes. They are false heroes. All of you who just stood to receive our appreciation, you're the real heroes. You rock. This morning, I am joined on the stage by President Linda Livingstone and Provost Dr. Nancy Brickhouse. I always note to the students, if you don't know what a provost is, the provost is the chief academic officer of the university at Baylor, in charge of all 12 of the academic units and other centers and institutes. Put real simply, Provost Brickhouse is my boss. Now, though, President Livingstone. President Livingstone is the 15th president of Baylor University. She is a rock star among presidents across the country. President Livingstone has overseen over her tenure, remarkable tenure, a tremendous rise in the profile and prestige of Baylor University, and that is something in which all schools, including the School of Law, benefits. She, as you will note from the program insert, has had an auspicious career, and my heavens, I think about the fact that R1 Carnegie status, R1 status, which is a big deal, has been achieved under the leadership of President Livingstone and Provost Brickhouse. President Livingstone was a basketball standout at Oklahoma State University. She is now on the NCAA Constitution Committee. She's chair of the NCAA Board of Governors. She's chair as well of the American Council on Education, and she's chair-elect of the Big 12 Conference. How often do we see someone with such credentials and such proven success and experience, both in the academic realm and in the athletic arenas? President Livingstone, we so appreciate your leadership of the entire university. You are a remarkable, I'm going to emphasize it, italicize it, underline it, and bold it. You are a remarkable leader. Thank you for all that you do. President Brickhouse, Provost Brickhouse. Provost Brickhouse, as I noted, is in charge of all of the academic aspects of the university across the schools and the various units. She is a person who is, like President Livingstone, an accomplished leader. She expects results and she gets results. She is someone who is the voice of voices across the Baylor University campus and well beyond. And I noted to the graduating class before we came in, as the president and provost spoke, that we oftentimes, for those who are laypersons at least, we often don't take note of the work of the provost within the university. But my heavens, what Dr. Brickhouse has done during her tenure. And it's capped by the R1 designation, but that is symbolic of the leadership that she has afforded to all those who love Baylor and Baylor Law School. Thank you, Dr. Brickhouse. Thank you. Also joining me this morning is Judge Ed Kincaid, who I'll introduce a bit later. I'm joined by my colleagues from the faculty. And I'll start here with Professor Jim Wren, who is seated second in. You may have heard of him. Professor Wren is the director of our practice court program, which you, I'm sure, are all familiar with. I'm sure you have gotten calls in the wee hours about being put upon and unreasonable expectations. Well, Professor Wren, along with Professor Fraley and Professor Consular and Professor Little, they put our students through that program because we want to make sure that, as I noted, our students are fully prepared to meet the expectations of their clients who will be looking to them to deal with their needs. Professor Wren, my heavens, wonderful trial lawyer, take a look at all of the honors that he has received within the purview of the trial academy and the legal profession. When he walks into the room, the students fall quiet. They fall quiet because they know that there's going to be a voice of wisdom and insight. Professor Paul Yanowich. Professor Yanowich has come to us a few years ago from a long career in our criminal justice system, a near 35-year career in the Department of Justice in a number of capacities. At Baylor Law School, we have a very well-developed criminal law program, and Professor Yanowich is, hey, I'll just put it down in simple terms. Professor Yanowich is a wonderful favorite of our students. He receives kudo after kudo through commentary of students who want to be in his classes. They want to learn from someone who has been there and done that. Professor Yanowich, thank you so much for all you do for our students and for Baylor Law School. Then we have Dean Pat Wilson and Dean Angela Cruz-Turner. Dean Wilson is the Associate Dean of the Law School, and Dean Cruz-Turner is our Senior Assistant Dean. The three of us work together. We work together with the balance of our colleagues in the administrative suite, the Dean's suite at the law school. And I could not possibly ask for more smart, adept, people-wise, wonderful persons who get the job done with diligence. They get it done as it needs to be done. They tackle every issue, every problem, every challenge with success. Dean Wilson, Pat, Dean Cruz-Turner, Angela, thank you so much for your leadership at the law school. And now, I will later introduce, as I noted, Judge Kincaid. And now I want to call, though, upon Carson Lacey. Carson is the highest ranking student in the class. And grades do not come easy at Baylor Law School. Is that right, class? Yeah, they are hard earned. And this is one of the largest classes we've ever had to graduate at Baylor Law School. Carson, what you have done, it's a big deal. Please share.
Good morning, and thank you to Dean Tobin. It's an honor to share the stage with you at the conclusion of your 31 years of faithful service to Baylor Law School. Yeah, we can clap. Clap for that. For us graduates, today is a day that we have a lot to be grateful for, a lot to be proud of, and a lot to look forward to. So that's what I'll be talking about. And for those of us in the know, yes, that's me road mapping my speech. Thank you, Professor Corden. But really, to all of our professors, we are so grateful for y'all. Law school is a lot like drinking water out of a fire hose, especially on the quarter system and especially at Baylor Law School. But that process has been made so much more enjoyable because we got to learn from professors who are truly at the top of their field, some of them literally writing the law, So thank you for dedicating your time and your talents to training and educating the next generation of lawyers. To our friends and family, thank you for tolerating our much too infrequent phone calls, and for when we do call, listening to us drone on about law school and this minor thing called practice court. Thank you for showing up for us, literally, physically showing up to the law school to be a juror or a witness for our trials or whatever we needed you to be. My incredible husband, who is a pastor by trade, played, I think, a very convincing security guard. He was a nurse at one point. But really, thank you all so much for everything you've done, seen and unseen, to encourage us and to support us on our law school journey. And I think we can be grateful for each other today. When we started law school, we mostly saw each other from behind a screen or behind a mask. But even so, I've been so encouraged by the kindness that we've shown to one another and the bond that we've formed these past 3 years. And I think we can be especially grateful for our practice court partners who were there for every sleep-deprived late night, every nerve-wracking advocacy exercise. I think I can honestly say I spent more waking hours with my practice court partner this past year than I did my husband. So shout out to Erica. But today we also have a lot to be proud of. Of course, we can be proud of our academic achievements, but I want to highlight some of the things that we can be proud of outside of the classroom. The personal successes, triumphs, and milestones. Just to name one, a few of our classmates became first-time parents during law school, a couple of them during practice court, if you can imagine. And I think it goes without saying that no law school achievement will ever measure up in importance to raising a child and modeling determination and hard work the way that you are. And the flip side of that is any of us who have experienced personal hardships or personal setbacks, who may have lost a loved one during law school, you should be so proud of the perseverance you showed to get to this place. And we, your family members, and your classmates are proud of you. So now that we're here, what do we have to look forward to? I have to confess, I'm not super sure I'm in the same position as all of you, but today we do get to call ourselves capital B, capital L, Baylor lawyers. So we are now representatives of this institution, and along with that, we get some of the benefits that come along with being a representative. For example, we're a part of this huge network of Baylor lawyers. We're part of something that's bigger than ourselves, and I think that's really meaningful. But there's also a weightiness that comes with being a representative, because what you do reverberates and your actions reflect back on the institution that you represent. The same is true with family. I grew up in a relatively small Texas Panhandle town where everybody knew everybody. And before I would go out in the community or hang out with friends, my mom would say, "Remember who you represent," which was, of course, a threat and meant don't bring shame upon our family. But she knew as well as I did that if I did something I wasn't supposed to, everyone was going to know, hey, that's Craig and Lisa's kid. And that was kind of scary, scary enough to keep me in line for the most part. But the flip side of that is that today is all the more meaningful because I can say I did it for and because of my family. And we, as lawyers, are going to be representatives for the rest of our lives, maybe in a more literal sense of the word. Whether we're sitting in a boardroom, negotiating a deal, or arguing in a courtroom before a jury, or more likely, sitting in the quiet confines of our office, doing doc review or drafting discovery requests, we are carrying the torch for our clients' cause, for their business, their investment, their family, their liberty in some cases. And I think that's intimidating. It's challenging. And yet, I think it's the very thing that animates the life of a lawyer, to be a representative, to be a part of something bigger than just your own success, and to provide a service to people who couldn't provide it for themselves. And all this talk about the heaviness of being a representative isn't to be foreboding today. Instead, it's to reassure us and to encourage us that we are up for the task. These past 3 years at Baylor Law School have prepared us, I think, as well as any classroom learning can, and the rest is up to us. To be people of integrity, to be lawyers who go the extra mile, not for recognition or applause, but because it makes a difference in the lives of the people who have trusted us with their torches. To be people of faith, of conviction, and of good character. And that's the type of lawyers, people, and community leaders I fully anticipate that we will be. It is an honor to walk this stage with y'all today, surrounded by the people who helped us get here. Thank you.
Carson, that was excellent. Those words, those thoughts, very insightful about how we reflect back upon the institutions from which we come that have developed us. And I know as I look out at the class that we're going to have at Baylor Law School a lot of reflected glory. And I listened to your words too, and I couldn't help, Carson, but think about Micah 6:8. What doth the Lord require thee but to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God? The instructions that are inscribed on the walls of the Law Center. How do we bring students to this point of achievement where we know as they go forward, they're going to serve so nobly, they're going to reflect glory back upon the law school? How do we do that? Well, it's through the family and friends supporting them through the years. But the last 3 years, every morning, every afternoon, every evening, that task, one which we relish, is accomplished by my faculty and staff colleagues. And of course, I have introduced my colleagues here on the stage, but I would like now for all of my faculty and staff colleagues to please rise to receive our appreciation. Most of them are over here and back toward that direction. Please rise. My faculty and staff colleagues are the absolute best. I tell you what a blessing to work with a team that just gets the job done. They set goals, they develop strategy, and they go after it. And it's the best darn faculty you could ever imagine, and they get it done. Thank you, my colleagues. Thank you. Judge Ed Kincaid. A lot of tittering going on here. Judge Ed Kincaid, he's a dear friend of mine. The judge is the United States District Court for the Northern District of Texas judge. He has served in that capacity for a long time. He is a double bear, as we call. He received his bachelor's degree as well as his law degree here at Baylor, from Baylor in the law school. Went on to receive a postgraduate degree from the University of Virginia Law School. And he has been on the bench a real long time, not just on the federal bench, but on the state court bench as well. He took the bench when he was 29 years old, and in a remarkable succession of elevations, moved from one of the lesser state courts to one of the courts of appeal of the state of Texas. And then, of course, he was tapped by President George Bush, the Bush 43, to serve on the federal bench. A judge, federal judge, serving on the bench develops a reputation. They already have reputations when they take the bench. Sometimes when we think about a federal judge, we think about a personality that is stern, aloof, unable to smile, congenitally unable to deal with humor or the like. And I suppose that we'd have to characterize, given that, Judge Kincaid as the anti-stereotype of federal judges. He is a delightful person of deep faith, so approachable by our students, and he teaches professional responsibility. And he teaches it at a very opportune time, not so much in terms of the day or the time of day, but he teaches it while they're going through the practice court curriculum. And he is, it's safe to say, a breath of fresh air for our students, of fresh air badly needed. Judge Kincaid is able to teach with humor. He's able to teach from experience. He's able to make sure that our students recognize that, yes, we are where fun goes to die at Baylor Law, but we also can lighten up and we can have moments in which we are connected to one another in the human condition, which is the essence of humor. Judge Kincaid has received a panoply of honors. He's been the outstanding young alum of Baylor University. He was our 2010 Baylor Lawyer of the Year. He is a member of the American Board of Trial Advocates, a very prestigious nationwide organization. And he was the Jurist of the Year a few years back. That tells you how he is regarded by his colleagues. I'm going to tell a story, though, about Judge Kincaid that really, I think, goes to what the man is all about. Judge Kincaid, many years ago, had a dog, Bo. Bo has passed on to Kennel in the Sky. But Judge Kincaid would take Bo into hospitals and into nursing homes, care facilities, just so the folks who were there in the hospital beds, in their rooms at the care facilities, could have a moment of lightness with a dog just by doing the things that dogs do for us. They lighten us. They tell us that it's all okay. Judge Kincaid realized that that was a ministry. And the judge and Bo continued their ministry, raising it to an entirely different level. Through that experience, and I should note too, Judge Kincaid did this while he was chair of the Baylor healthcare system. He was the top dog of the healthcare system, but he went to the Baylor affiliated hospitals with Bo. That's subservient leadership. Judge Kincaid decided that he wanted to make sure that those in the Metroplex area and way beyond, it's national, who had need of a service dog because of a disability, whether it be sight, hearing, mobility, should have a service dog. He, in the pursuit of that dream, raised millions and millions of dollars to establish a service dog facility in the Metroplex that trains dogs. I think it cost somewhere about $50,000 or $60,000 to train a service dog. And that has been a ministry of his for many, many years. And I think it's such a wonderful melding of his love for dogs and his heart to reach out and serve those who need help. Judge Kincaid, you have been a perennial favorite of our students, not only in the classroom, but also at graduation ceremonies. We don't keep count, but this is like the nth time that Judge Kincaid has been selected by a graduating class to share thoughts and insights. And with that, Judge Kincaid, please come forward.
Thank you all. President Livingstone, Provost, Brickhouse, deans, faculty, all the faculty down here. Appreciate y'all letting me speak today. And I mostly want to thank you guys. You know, it's really fun to be here, and threatening you with jury duty, I know, is what kind of helped get me this job to speak today. And don't forget, I am a judge, so I would suggest you laugh at my jokes. So, you know, it's been fun. I have to say, Brad Tobin and I have been friends a long, long time. I like to tease him and tell him he's my 23rd favorite Democrat. And he's moved up and down at different times of our friendship there. And I have to remind him of one particular time when I think I was really being a good friend to him. He was in the hospital, and part of the therapy was walking around Hillcrest. And he was in one of those robes that we all wish we never had to wear, and pretty open in the back. And as we're walking around, I was looking, my goodness. This boy's never going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I just don't think it's going to happen for him. But I did take a picture, and I've used that as blackmail all these years. But I still love you, Brad. But thank you so much. I have to tell you you will be shocked at the people I'm going to thank for today. I need to thank Ricardo Pena, who works at Dillard's, because I forgot to bring a shirt and tie. And yesterday he helped pick that out. And so please go out to Dillard's and buy something. He even took all the wrinkles out of it and everything else. So great guy. Thank you very much, Ricardo. And I sound like NBC in the morning. I do get a cut of whatever y'all spend out there. So, this really today is giving you the license to serve. That's what this is going to be about. And if you know that, and I've preached that to you, and I'm sure Carson's husband and Carson have been preaching it to you, and being the Baptist preacher's son, it's going to be a little preaching. Y'all got some of that from me during class. I never passed the plate, though. Let's acknowledge that. Acknowledge that. It's not too late. Could do it today. And I just remember my son, who I taught in 2010, and thankfully passed practice court. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. And Professor Powell, wherever you are today. And his first client, he went to work as an in-house counsel for a construction company here. And his first day, he didn't know what he was going to do and what he'd be. Well, a little man came in who didn't have all of his teeth, and he was a big-time equipment operator. And he came in and didn't read very well. And he said, "Are you the lawyer?" "Yes, sir." "Will you help me figure out how to get my health insurance and how to get signed up?" So Brad did that. And, he called me. He said, "I don't know if that was really part of the curriculum, but it was part of training me to be the kind of lawyer that I needed to be and that I was going to be and what I was going to be called upon." And, that's where you are. Those first 4 or 5 years, think about these people that sat up with you and, cleaned your diapers and did all the things for you. You got through high school somehow, went through college somehow, and here you are. And after these 3 years, by the way, I've checked a couple of your grades, and some of you aren't graduating. But here you are. And these people are all on the, if we use a football analogy, they're all on the sidelines. They're your cheerleaders. They're your coaches. And they're going to be there with you from now forever. You're at the 1 yard line. You've just begun this. And they're there to continue that kind of support. And you're going to need it. They're going to be rough times. There's going to be times when the bills aren't, a little struggling there. Some of you are going to get sick. Some of your spouses will be sick. Some of your partners are going to be disloyal. And you're going to have clients that don't pay. I'm still chasing some of mine. And it's just, that's going to be the life that y'all are going to have. And these are the people you're going to rely on. Don't forget that. But let me remind you of some other people to rely on. Each other. This is your network where it begins. I can't tell you how many cases I got sent to me from my colleagues. "Ed, don't you do this kind of thing? Isn't this something you do?" We had a big zoning practice, and folks would send us that, and I did criminal work and divorce work. God forbid. How hard that was. It was really difficult, especially the day when I was going to take a deposition. The lawyer called me and said, "Well, I don't believe we're going to be able to do it today." And I said, "Okay, let's receive." He said, "No, that's not what I mean. My client is coming over with a shotgun to shoot you." And I said, "Well, thanks for the heads up." And we eventually settled that case. It was good. But that's where you are. Don't forget who these folks are. Some of them, some of y'all really got scholarship. Some of you got, like my son got, the Ed Kincaid Writes a Check scholarship. And there's nothing wrong with that. Remember those people that did that for you. So y'all are all leaders, every one of you. Whether you want to be, think you are leaders. You didn't get here by accident. Yes, Carson's number one, and the rest of y'all are somewhere else in the class. And for those of you that are with me, we made it. And I got there okay. I mean, I'm the only federal judge out of my class. I like to remind people. But think about what's going on in the world right now. Could it be worse? I mean, last night they dropped bombs in Crimea. Ukraine did, and what's been going on there and how horrible all of that. That's what's going on in the world. When I graduated, it was inflation, interest rates at 19%. Me trying to convince my lovely wife, Melissa, who's here somewhere, to marry me for the 535th time. She did say yes after my last exam, the last night after law school. I was like, are you sure? and it's been a great 49 years that she's put up with me. But it was, and you remember you don't remember this, you weren't born. We had to keep the lights off. And I was like, doggone it, am I gonna flashlight? How do we do our work? And the things that we're going through. I mean, mask and all that and what you've been through. You remember, I don't know if you were in the class where I had a plastic mask. If I did, I want to apologize because I'm a spitter. And about halfway through the class, I'd have to get the Windex out and clean the windows from the inside. So, what crazy times but don't let people tell you, you're going to make this world better than my outfit had. You're going to do a better job than we have. You're better equipped. You're more patient. You're more diverse. You're more tolerant of each other. And that's a good thing, to be able to listen to one another. Now, with that said, stick by your core beliefs. Don't go wandering off in the weeds. As I told y'all, the bar ditches of the world. Some of you have never been I guarantee you Carson knows what that is there's bar ditches in Borger. And I've pulled a few cars out of bar ditches, and I've driven a car too in there. You're going to be struggling with those kinds of things, but you're prepared for it. You're going to be fine. You can't fix everything. As Melissa and I drove up here today, we have a friend that's homeless, Sean, and he camps out near our apartments, and I give Sean money from time to time, and he cleans things up, and I beg him to give up the booze, and I know I should, but we're still friends. As we were driving here today, Sean goes, I love you. And I just thought, my goodness, but you can't fix everything. You can give your heart, you can do what you can, but remember this, that's what we're called upon to do. People make choices. Some of them aren't good, and that's their choice, but you make the effort. I want to encourage you to do that. Be willing to mess up and get up. You're not going to get it all right. You're just not. And it's okay to go through the struggles that you're going to go through. You're not going to win every case. Lawyers will only tell you about their winning cases. I'm not going to tell you about mine. And it's going to come at different phases. For me, when I was sworn in as a lawyer, I was 22. Next thing I heard from the judge, and he was kind of a quirky fella, was, call your first witness, Ed Kincaid. And I was like, okay. And I got beaten so badly in that trial, I had to go home and my wife had to pat me on the back and make me feel like I was going to be okay. And it was okay. Stay in touch with each other and remember they're your friends. These aren't your enemies. These are your friends. Be generous with your time. Time is valuable only as you give it away. Use that time to help. I can't tell you how many times people have come to me and I don't have time. I don't have time. And it will be one of the most blessing times of my life if I'll stop and give them that time. Find something you can do outside of being a lawyer. It's a very jealous mistress. And if you're not careful, it'll lead to addiction, too much this, too much that, because you're working so hard and you're down. You're working so hard on things. For me, it's dogs. I mean, y'all met Falco. He's the successor to Bo, and Falco's a really, really good dog. And he loves my wife more than he loves me, very appropriately. And when he wants something, like he'll wake Melissa up and nudge, like, it's time for me to eat and it's time for me to get a treat, and it's just so rewarding because he just loves me. Last week, he and I went to a golf tournament, of all things. There, Tony Romo won it. There were a lot of stars in it and all this. But there we are, and the producer likes dogs, and Falco was the star of the Saturday. If you were watching the Golf Channel, I had people call me from all over the country going, "Is that you and your dog?" And I said, "Well, they didn't show me. They only showed my hand, but they did show Falco a lot." And he was doing all kinds of tricks like he did for y'all. And so find something that you can do like that. Now, my advice today is not in the order of importance. I want to tell you how important faith is for me. I mean, I'm a Baptist preacher's son, and not just because the heritage is that important. It's the most important thing in my life is making a decision to follow Jesus Christ. Now, y'all don't want to do that, find your faith. That's okay. Now, everybody should agree with me because I'm right about everything in the world. You should know that. But find that. Don't give up on it. I can't remember what that song was, I believe by Martina McBride. Give faith a chance. I want to encourage you to do that. Forgive those who don't deserve it. You got any of those in your life? Of course you do. Those schools that didn't let you in, remember those? Mm-hmm. I'm not telling you to send them money. Don't do that. But, we all have friends that let us down. Well, I'm thankful that I've been forgiven and that I can forgive, but I struggle with that, and I want to encourage you to do that. Learn from others. I got to spend Friday night with a fella who's been a long-haul truck driver, a jewelry store owner, a restaurant owner, and a contractor. I mean, he's done so many things. His wife helped him in a lot of those things. And it sat there and listened to him, and his perspective on life was wonderful. Listen, here's what most people do, because I'm an observer of it. I'm talking, and they're just waiting for their chance to talk. They have no clue about what I said, nor do they care to find out about me or my family. That's not the way. Listen to them. Be a good listener and work at that. Try something new. Don't be stuck in just the same old. Do something different. Jump out of an airplane, preferably with a parachute, preferably. And I want to leave you with 2 or 3 thoughts. One is, I'm going to keep praying for you unless you tell me not to. Is that okay? All right, well, I will. I don't see anybody shaking their head. Even if you do, I'm still going to pray for you. Might as well not even ask you. Travel, and preferably travel somewhere where they don't speak English, a different culture. And I would suggest the first place they don't speak English is England. I mean, you go over there and you learn about the Q and the torch and, all those things. I remember I was standing in line, you jumped the queue. I go, well, I don't think so. Whatever that is. And ride the lift, the elevators, and do those things. Go places and do some things. See the rest of the world for what it is. I had breakfast with the Edwards boys this morning. Their dad was a Baylor lawyer, and he was murdered. And when they were little bitty boys, age 1 and 3, over in Fort Worth at the Court of Appeals, when a man stood up in the back of the room and shot him. He wasn't involved in it, and shot 2 of the judges. And I was asking them about their advice, and one of them went to Princeton, one of them went to Amherst. They were very successful. One of them's getting his PhD, and they're here today burying their grandmother. And they both gave really good advice, which was stick by your guns. Don't be afraid to have a different idea than others. I'm going to leave you with 2 things. One, when I had to go through about 3 times to ever get to be a federal judge. Y'all know you had to hear about all of it in class. And one of my friends said to me, Ed, I said, what's the problem? Why can't I get senators to go ahead and nominate me? He said, well, Ed, you're on the B team. And man, it just struck my heart. I thought, am I? And I was, and it was okay. And I realized I just wasn't their first choice. I was, other people were, and that was okay. And I learned from that, and I took that advice. You're not really on anybody's B team. You're not. You're on your own. This is your deal. Yeah, you remember what I said in class? My wife made me promise I wouldn't say it this way. I'm going to use a different analogy today, and that's this. When other people try to put you in a box, don't let them on your dreams. Okay? You remember the word. I promise I wouldn't say it today, but don't let anybody squash those dreams. And you know the word I'm thinking. Please come. Let me be a part of your life. Let me swear you into the Northern District. And I want to compliment all of you ladies. I've never seen as many new shoes as I've seen today. Thank y'all. It's a great day. Appreciate you.
You see why everyone loves Judge Kincaid. What an extraordinary person of faith. What an extraordinary judge and lawyer. We were in St. Andrews, Scotland, and went into a restaurant. And the judge was at a table of some local residents, talking to them and regaling them and making them laugh. And, he then left, and I was standing there by the table. He had to get on to another engagement. And I said, that gentleman that you were just talking to, he's a federal judge in the United States, and he can enter an order, like an injunction, that has an impact across the entire nation. And they pointed to the door where he had left, and they said, him? George Bush. President Livingstone, please come forward for remarks.
Well, thank you. It's wonderful to have all of you here today, and congratulations to those of you that are graduating. So as I was listening to Judge Kincaid, I actually decided to change what I was going to tell you today, because I have a Judge Kincaid story that I'm going to tell. Like, does everybody have a Judge Kincaid story? They do. If you don't have one, you need one. So a couple of years ago, my daughter and one of her friends, Shelby, she went to Truett Seminary here, and she, over spring break, was going with a friend to Angel Fire, New Mexico on a ski trip. And they were on a plane that Judge Kincaid and Melissa happened to be on. Shelby did not know the Kincaids. And there was a snowstorm in New Mexico, and they were supposed to land in Angel Fire, and they ended up landing in Santa Fe instead of Angel Fire. And so I have a child who does not know anybody in Santa Fe, doesn't have a car, has never driven in the mountains in the snow. And fortunately, Judge Kincaid and Melissa recognized my daughter and made a point of introducing themselves. And they have a place in Red River, New Mexico. And so they offered to take my daughter and her friend with them to New Mexico, to Red River, until their friends from Angel Fire could come and pick them up. And I understand that Melissa all along the way admonished Judge Kincaid to make sure that even if they had a wreck, that the president's daughter was saved in that wreck, no matter who else didn't make it out of that alive. So I really appreciate that. I'm gonna have to thank Melissa for that admonition. But they are people, Judge Kincaid, and you could hear this in his remarks, a person with a great heart and a great care and love for people. As I thought about that and thought about the fact that you all are graduating and you're going out to serve, you are well-trained. You went through one of the most rigorous law schools in the country. You worked hard. You probably shed tears. Your parents and friends and family probably did lots of counseling of you along the way. And you are technically a very, very good lawyer. And you will technically do a very, very good job as you leave here. But I think what makes a really, really great lawyer and why our Baylor lawyers are so good is because they're not just technically good lawyers. They are lawyers with a heart and a soul and a care and a love for people. And so I hope that that was part of what you got out of this experience, and that as you go out and serve from here, you not only think about the technicalities of the law and how you honor the law well, but how you honor and care for the people that you're serving through your practice of law. And as I think about people who have a great love and care for others and serve others well, I do have to acknowledge Dean Tobin. As has been mentioned earlier, he's stepping out of this role and certainly will stay on the faculty of the law school this summer. But I can't think of anyone on this campus really that have served and loved our students at this university longer and better than Dean Tobin. And I understand, I know you didn't count how many times Judge Kincaid had spoken, but somebody counted how many graduations you've been in. I think this is your 119th graduation. That's amazing. So Dean Tobin, thank you for your service. So know that we are so proud of you, and I encourage you, I'll be praying for you, that you not only are a lawyer who practices the law well and takes the law seriously, but that you serve your clients and love your clients and have a heart and soul for them as you go out and practice this great profession. So congratulations.
Thank you, President Livingstone. It is the 119th, and I will add this. Thank you. And those are 119 of the happiest days of my life. Let's, thank you. Provost Brickhouse for remarks, please.
I do not have a Judge Kincaid story, but I think I'm going to get one. It's not over. That's right. I am so honored to be here with you this morning. Those sitting in front of us today have navigated the complexities of the aftermath of a global pandemic, polarized political, social environment across the country, and of course, the never-ending construction on I-35, trying to get to the law school to finish your law degree. You are truly a very resilient class, and we are blessed that you have spent your time here at Baylor Law. I do want you to take a moment and look around the room. Your friends, your family, your classmates, and your professors all share in this moment with you. They've carried you as you have carried one another in difficult times. They've shared your joys and your sorrows. Solomon's Proverbs tell us that iron sharpens iron, and that one person sharpens another. So cultivate your relationships. In the early days of your career, they will be your sustenance. In accordance with the law school's mission statement, Baylor University is proud to send you out across the nation to assume leadership positions in a profession charged with responsibility for maintaining and improving our nation's system of justice. This is indeed a high calling. You leave here with great responsibility, however, it's one that I know you are well prepared for. I'm confident in the legacy you'll leave. Wherever you go from here, know that you'll always have a home at Baylor University. I'm so grateful to celebrate this moment with each student gaining a degree, but also to pause and celebrate our Dean, Brad Tobin, as he returns to faculty after 30 years at the helm of Baylor Law. The greatest Scottish writer, Robert Louis Stevenson, once said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant." Dean Tobin, you've had 30 years, a bountiful harvest here at the law school, and you planted seeds all over the Baylor community and beyond with your calm countenance, encouraging spirit, and steadfast support for our law school. We're so grateful that Baylor has been your home and your heart for the last 30 years, and thankful to have you continuing to shepherd students as a faculty member. Graduates, as you go from this place, remember the words of Robert Louis Stevenson: "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds you plant." I know you'll make us proud. Congratulations.
The time has now arrived for the presentation of the class by Provost Brickhouse to President Livingstone. President Livingstone, of course, will then confer the degree, and we will go from there to the award of the diplomas and the hooding of each of our graduates. Provost Brickhouse, the class, please stand.
Dr. Livingstone, each of the candidates before you have completed the requirements for the degree of Juris Doctor as prescribed by the faculty of the School of Law and by Baylor University, acting through the authority of the Board of Regents. It is my pleasure to present the class to you for the conferral of the degree.
Thank you, Provost Brickhouse. Each of you has completed the requirements for the degree of Juris Doctorate as set forth by the Baylor University School of Law. Upon the certification of the faculty of the school and on behalf of Baylor University's Board of Regents, it is my pleasure to confer upon you the degree of Juris Doctorate. Congratulations.
We will now go forward to the award of the diplomas and the hooding of each of our graduates. We have a tradition here at Baylor Law School. It goes back many, many, many years. And specifically, what it involves is when your graduate's name is called out, we want you to make, as family, friends, loved ones, the most noise you can possibly make in support of them. Now, some folks are a bit reticent to do that in a ceremony such as this, thinking that, well, it's not respectful. Well, remember this: we will measure the depth of the love that you have for your graduate by the decibels that you can produce.
Our first graduate is a public interest fellow, Aden Raed Abu Hakme. Carlos Antunes. Sierra Nicole Argijo. Antonios Vasili Abdimalik Ateya. The next graduate has earned a special distinction in criminal practice, Allison Ree Barber. Our next graduate is a Leadership Development Fellow, Allison K. Basta. Melanie Pace Bates, cum laude. Barrett Westfall Bond. The next graduate earned a special distinction in business planning, special distinction in estate planning, and special distinction in litigation. Megan Danielle Baumhart, cum laude. Elias George Bajani. William Andrew Boone, magna cum laude. Our next graduate earned a special distinction in business planning, Tanner Cade Brennan, cum laude. Joshua Daniel Candelario, cum laude. Julia Christine Cantu. Julia Christine Cantu. Elois Elizabeth Caswell. Our next graduate is a Leadership Development Fellow, Ria Chaudhry. Ailey Stewart Clark. Kimberly K. Clark. Our next graduate has earned a special distinction in criminal practice, Sarah Catherine Crouch. Archibald DeLeon Cruz. Cum laude. Mackenzie Kate Dalton. Ashley Lane Dethridge. Kevin Delgado. Erica Addington Emmons. Sarah Megan Erb, summa cum laude. Dogan Jet Nelson Irvin. Ricky Olivia Feeser. Justin Luke Garcia. Madeline Elizabeth Gay, magna cum laude. Jillian Hamilton Ginger. Jordan Nicholas Gonzalez. Caitlin Elizabeth Grieve. Bryce Daniel Griffin. Rachel Nicole Hales. William Jackson Hurd. Ilya Eliyahu Hefetz, magna cum laude. Joel Lazaro Hernandez. Aaron Lynn James Mendoza. Sarah Jean Johnson, magna cum laude. Connor Allen Kidd, magna cum laude. Jacob Joseph King, cum laude. Carson Jones Lacey, summa cum laude, highest ranking student of the graduating class. Neely Lambert. John Wesley Laughlin, magna cum laude. David Powell Leister. Corey Scott Lesser, magna cum laude. Christina Aline Manansala, cum laude. Amanda Grace Martin. Jonathan James Martinez. Sawyer Dre Massey. William Sutton McCoy. Our next graduate is a Leadership Development Fellow, Daniela Marie McDonough, cum laude. The next graduate has earned a special distinction in litigation, Emily Christine Means, cum laude. Nicholas Ryan Morrison. Mary Jane Nichols. Errol William Onaike. Cade Scott Palmer, summa cum laude. Our next graduate is a Public Interest Fellow, Scarlett Estelle Petrucci. Arathna Michael Polly. Ashley Lauren Rhodes. The next graduate earned a special distinction in litigation, Miranda Salazar. The next graduate earned a special distinction in litigation, Tanner Michelle Sheaf, cum laude. James Marion Schultz. Mark William Stallman. The next graduate earned a special distinction in litigation, Hannah Margaret Jacobs Sutton. Michael Lawrence Tagliabue, magna cum laude. Katie Thetford. The next graduate is a Leadership Development Fellow, Laura Michelle Theobald. Zane Tyler Thomas, cum laude. The next graduate earned a special distinction in litigation and is a public interest fellow, Matthew Lawrence Vitale. Jack Adam Wall. Jake Andrew Weathers, magna cum laude. Walter Lewis Welch. The next graduate is a Leadership Development Fellow, Ashlyn Kate Wright. The next graduate has earned a special distinction in litigation, Mary Yakub. Mariel Yepo. Maricela Mullins Zertucci.
Family, loved ones, friends, you did a really good job with the decibels. You love this group. Let's now congratulate each one of them. I love this. Graduates, go forward now. You're going to serve as Baylor lawyers. You heard from each person who spoke here this morning, at least some allusion, but most often very direct admonition about service, about going forward in your professional and your personal career, making a difference in the lives of others. The vertical, glorify God; the horizontal, serve God's kingdom. The 18th century Anglican cleric John Wesley said, do all the good you can by all the ways you can, all the means you can, in all the places you can, by all the times you can, to all the people you can, for as long as you can. And that's what we ask you to do today as you go forth as Baylor lawyers. We have had a wonderful celebration today, and I want to thank those who have made it possible. First of all, I want to thank President Livingstone and Provost Brickhouse for joining us today for this happy occasion. And Judge Kincaid, isn't he a card? And I love him. He is my dear friend. We will now adjourn to the Walter and Sheila Law Center, Sheila and Walter Humphrey Law Center, and all the classrooms, all the courtrooms will be open. And so we have encouraged the graduates to take your family and loved ones and friends around to show them where you shed blood. There will be a reception that will be hosted by the Baylor Law Alumni Association in the lounge area and on the river terrace. This marks the end of our ceremony. You know, everything goes together so smoothly in these ceremonies. I want to thank those who take care of all the logistical matters that make the morning go so pleasantly. Our registrar, Jerry Cunningham, and Susie Daniel. Jerry and Susie are right at the center of all things commencement. I also want to thank Nick Texera, Mari Sanchez, Kendall Smith, Reagan Havel, Taylor Chung, Steve Bullock on IT sound here at Waco Hall, Eric Gruhl, our photographer, and our Baylor IT colleagues, Ricky Levetsky, Rick Soul, and Chris Griesmer, as well as the facilities IT person, Rory Nada. That's a lot of folks, and I always want to mention them because things like this unfold as a memory because of their hard work. We will now have the recessional. The class will gather on the outside front stairs for the class photo. And although we know that you have all been waiting to greet them and congratulate them, we do ask that you allow us to get the class together for a class photo before all the festivities of greeting and hugging begin. And with that, we are adjourned, and God bless.
Wait. This is Brad's last graduation.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.